This is a real-life UX mock whiteboard challenge done by myself and meta UX designer Julia Fernandez. So Julia is a good friend of mine and also a tech content creator, so I'll leave her socials down below. And if we haven't met before, I'm Sharon. I'm an ex-Amazon UX designer who was able to make my career transition from fashion into tech through my UX bootcamp at Springboard. So me and Julia really treated this challenge as if it was a real-life interview, so I'm pretending that I am in a real life interview, so this video is uncut and unfiltered. Plus, if you're interested in a career transition or learning UX through Springboard's bootcamp, feel free to use my code SharonKim for $1,000 off your tuition, and without further ado, let's jump into the video.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Sharon?
I'm doing good. Just finished my coffee. I'm ready for the challenge. How about you?
I'm doing well as well. I see you already have your screen shared, so this is awesome. So yeah, I can first off just introduce myself, give you a little bit of an outline of what we're going to do today, and then I will read you the whiteboard challenge prompt, and then we can get right into it. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. I know we've talked through email, but my name is Julia Fernandez. I'm currently the founder of Hey There, which is a startup. I know you've probably read a little bit about us on our page, but basically today I'm going to be doing a whiteboard challenge with you, and this is going to take a total of around 50 minutes to an hour. We're going to have 40 minutes in the start of being able to actually do the interview, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes we're going to talk through some just feedback and all of that, so don't have to worry about the time. I can keep that for the both of us. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read you the prompt. Feel free to just share everything that's on your mind. Just a quick reminder of like, I'd love to hear everything that you are thinking. And then feel free to ask me any questions during this time that we have together. Does
Okay,
that sound good?
sounds good.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and read the prompt. So the prompt is: friends keep us company through the ups and downs of our lives and help us grow. But as we grow older, our fear and social anxiety can keep us from making new friends. How can you help people who have social anxiety step out and make new friends?
All right, so it's for people with social anxiety and how they can make more friends. Okay, cool. Then for a bit of to gauge a bit more of context of the company and what you're trying to achieve, can you tell me a bit more about your company and some background?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company is called Hey There. And it is currently we have like a location in New York and San Francisco and Chicago. So we have locations in like big cities, or that's at least what we're trying to target.
Okay. And how long has your company been around for? Yeah.
We have been around for a little less than 6 months, so we're very new. But we do want to be able to have some kind of product within six to 8 months.
Okay, so it's a brand more like a new company and you're trying to have like this new app for your startup is in your company. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And with that, so if this is a new product that you are trying to design, has there been any, previous designs or tests of that or any previous designs that have been done before or recently?
Um, no, so we have not started on the app design. There's some wireframes that we have, kind of here and there, just to kind of have like illustrate the concept of what we're trying to do, but no designs, no design system. We plan on building one though.
Okay, got it. And then with this, what type of medium are you thinking of for this product?
So we're only going to be on mobile.
Okay, mobile, so app design. Cool. Okay, so I'm hearing that, right, this is going to be then an app for people with social anxiety and how they can make more friends. You're planning to have this app be in more concentrated areas such as New York City, major cities like San Francisco and Chicago. It's going to be a new design, and I'm curious who else is on the team. Is there other designers or other researchers or developers so far?
Yeah, so we just hired a developer, but the only other I guess designer is myself as the founder of the company. But we are looking to hire a designer specific for the UX design of this app.
Okay. Do you also
Mhm.
have, say, a UX researcher or a team member regarding that so far?
No, no, we don't have an official researcher, but we do have some research that we've done just like as we built the company. But we're also trying to get funding for potentially like getting um a contractor for user research. But because we don't have a product to test yet, we want to make sure we have one.
Got it. Sounds good. So I feel like I do have enough context. Oh, the last thing I did want to ask was, are there any business constraints or if it's 6 months that you've been founded,
Mhm.
started, in what timeline would you like for this app to be rolled out? I'm assuming it's an MVP.
Yes, it's an MVP. We're trying to get it out in about 6 to 8 months.
And is there any other business constraints that I should be aware of in regards to this design?
Um, no, other than we have a single developer, so you're going to be doing a lot of collaborative work with them.
Okay, got it.
One-on-one collaboration, yeah.
Sounds good. So I do believe I have enough context to learn more about your company. And now I would like to move on to defining a problem statement, diving a bit more into like the background of whatever research that has been done. So can you tell me a bit more about the target demographic of who you're trying to target with your app?
Yeah, so we're trying to target people who are actually like within the tech industry.
Okay.
So people who are either just graduating or college students, and then specifically like we're trying to get the demographic of folks that have like a fast-paced like lifestyle. So yeah.
Okay. And is there a specific reason why, like, why new grads or college students? Is there pain points that are associated with that particular demographic?
Yeah. So mostly the reason why we started this is because we wanted to make sure that we answer to this desire to meet for people to meet each other when they move to a new city. So when you go to a new city for college, or if you're like relocating for your job. Um and yeah.
Okay, I see. And all right, that totally makes sense. I remember I definitely had to relocate too when I was doing a previous internship. Then I'm
Mhm.
also assuming then if it's new grads, college students, I would assume that the age for more context would be say like 20 to 30s, or can you give them a bit more details about how
Yeah.
old they would be?
Yeah, absolutely. We are thinking that our demographic is going to be like 21 to 28.
Okay.
21 just like being for if we have like social hangouts, and that includes like drinking stuff, like that we just want to make sure that we are, not liable for that kind of stuff.
Okay. Got you. No, for sure. Okay. And then I would like to know a bit more about any other past research that has been done. So, ideally at this point, I would also like to look at what other competitive, in terms of competitive analysis, whether say apps that exist out there that are similar to what you're trying to achieve. Um,
Mhm.
but then, can you tell me a bit more then about what it is ultimately with this app? So you want to help people meet with each other. What are other past research points that you've conducted or know so far?
Yeah, we know that 60% of people who are like moving into a new city would usually use an app like this.
Okay.
So we see that there is a like demand for this kind of thing. And reason being is when you talk about competitors, we're trying to kind of be like, Bumble BFF kind of thing. Um, yeah, but we're also trying to answer to more this like idea of uh keeping like long-term friendships.
Mm,
Um, and we found that again, trying to also cater more to folks that are not used to meeting up too much. So the people who have social anxiety.
mm. Okay, so I noticed a pain point would be like social anxiety. Are there other pain points that are specific within this demographic that I should be aware of?
Yeah, it feels like another thing too is like making introductions like and just like kind of breaking the ice
Mm,
for intros is one of the things that's like not being accomplished by these other apps and like these other competitors. So we're trying to really understand how we can design a better experience to stand out from those competitors.
for sure. Okay, I see. So now then, considering that, I do feel like I have a better idea of who you're trying to target and like where they're coming from. Definitely, it's for the goal of trying to form long-term friendships. Um, I feel like I just have to ask this. So, since it's more for friendships, I imagine it's for more personal relationships and not so much networking. Would you like to clarify?
Yes,
Clarify?
yes. Yeah, it would be more for personal, like wanting to expand your social circle,
Mhm.
um, with, yeah, personal relationships because, you're moving for work. So you want to be able to have and create friendships that are, not necessarily work related.
Got it. Okay, so then with this, I would just like to create a persona for this demographic just so I have a better idea of who the user is and keeping them in mind. So
Mhm.
they are, say I'll just name them Josh. He is a tech intern working, say, in New York City.
Mhm.
He is 22 years old
Mhm.
and he does not he's like the sole intern at his company and he wants to meet more friends in New York City.
Mhm.
I also see, well, considering like moving forward when I am designing, I also like to consider the larger context. So if it is for 21 to 28 years old, I think that is the intersection between both Gen Z and also millennials.
Mhm.
um, and since I'm also thinking in terms of the goals, it's trying to be social and whatnot, what other apps say are they using or what other mediums are they currently using now to keep in contact with other people? So I also think, I would assume that they will probably use Instagram or, say like Snapchat or whatnot to keep in touch with friendships. Does that sound right for your audience, say
Mhm.
for Josh? Okay.
Mhm.
Instagram, Snapchat. And I also think 22 years old and yeah, does not know others and has social anxiety. I see. And with this, let me look through socials. City. Okay, got it. So I think then considering the persona, we can just say the goal is to help Gen Z millennial tech workers to form personal relationships when relocating
Mhm.
to a new city for work. Does that sound correct?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add on in terms of context or the persona?
No, sounds about right.
Okay, cool. So then considering this and checking the time, move on to the user flow. So I'll keep Josh in mind.
Mhm.
So then I'll just be thinking about flows of how this potential app could look like. So what are some key features that I'm thinking of, key screens or considerations that would be involved into this app? So I would imagine, Josh, he would definitely want to log in or sign up. I
Mhm.
may save this since it seems like a more basic feature for like another time, but I think where the key screens, what would that be? So I think it would be, that, yeah, sign up process of like where his location is, perhaps a bio. I also think when it comes to thinking about flows, I would definitely conduct a competitive analysis to see, what other social apps are currently out there, since that is probably the most familiar medium that they are used to, and it should feel easy to use this app. So location, perhaps a smart bio. Let's see. I would also think of like how are they going to match, say, with other people? Since it is like Bumble, BFF, thinking about other competitive apps, they would have some sort of match service. Then after, say, connecting with them, that person, how are they going to make the conversation? So could be, messaging service or type of platform for that. And I imagine since it's for relationships, it could be, um, a follow-up for like, say, meeting that new person in real life or connecting with them further beyond the app. As a last thing, I think to consider, keeping track of people you have met, of like your friend matches, would be a good thing to keep in mind. In terms of the key screens for the flows, how does that sound so far?
That sounds great. Yeah.
Cool. So then for key screens, that was key screens. Now think of key flows. So let's think of Josh. He would sign up first, and I imagine he make his bio, go into, say, the main matching service or page within the app. And then once that person does match with someone else, they can chat. And then afterwards, as a sort of reflection screen, follow up or keep log beyond the app. Okay, cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. I think, well, when it comes to generally making friendships with other people or connecting with them, I imagine for that bio, since they're all within the tech industry, um, I'd, uh, I'm curious, and this is where I would like to do more research of, say, if you added your company name, I'm not sure if that would be the best thing to add within your bio because it might come off as a bit resume-like, which is, I'm sure, not really the goal for people who just want personal friendships. Um,
Mhm.
so I think that still, I'll just put it as a consideration of like company name or at least just title of what they do. I think age could be good to list in, photos, bio about themselves. How would other people relate to each other in terms of friendships too? Say like hobbies, activities, or even first hangout ideas is something that I think I would add if I want to get to know somebody. So considering that, is there anything else in terms of the flows? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think one thing that I would want you to consider is we're trying to be different in making sure that we cater to people who are a little bit more anxious with connecting with each other. So curious if that changes anything, or if there's anything that you would, add with that prompt.
I see. So can you expand a bit more about that anxiety pain point aspect? Like what about it is more difficult for them? Was it the intros thing, or can you expand upon
Yeah,
that?
it's intros. It's a few things. So it could be intros, it could be potentially just like privacy information.
Okay.
It could also just be you were nodding to it in terms of like being able to provide like examples of just like kind of helping make the matching process, or the first actual meeting process, like happen faster and not just stay in limbo, because basically we've seen that a lot of people drop off after like the first few messages in like other apps. So we're trying to keep this idea of like longevity in relationships with people.
Mm, okay, got it. And a question that I had in mind was, well, when it comes to social anxiety, I'm not sure if this counts, but would people with social anxiety, would they feel more comfortable, say, meeting one-on-one with others, or would they prefer group settings? Is there research or thoughts on even like how they would meet other people?
That's a good question. I think at this point we're still more like trying to be flexible for one-on-one or group settings, but I think group settings is a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. Group
I'd
settings.
love to for you to dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So group settings. Okay, then I'm thinking, well, in terms of comp analysis, I know meetup.com does something similar. Maybe I will look into that. I would look into that more to see how they would structure it too. In terms of privacy information, so like would it be like they don't want to give too much information, or like afraid it would leak?
I think they want to be able to pick and choose what they are going to disclose on their profile.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay. And then in terms of intros, you were referring to just like breaking the ice and like how to make it, say, seem more natural when meeting other people.
Yeah. So I think that you're doing a really good job at that, with like the prompting and the ideas. I really like this idea of meetup. I think in some ways, now that you talk about it, I like this idea of like if Bumble BFF like meets meetup, like the current meetup
Yeah.
sites.
Yeah, I think for somebody with social anxiety, now because I understand like more like okay, it's picking and choosing what they want to disclose, perhaps even what types of settings they would prefer if it's one-on-one or meetups would make a lot more sense for Josh. Then I would then change, say, right, you would match with other people, but I also think giving them options of like perhaps suggestions based on their interests,
Mm,
of like what similar meetups within the city, that they can meet other people with that, similar point of interest.
yeah.
I would even say like recommended meetups for Josh based on interests. Connecting with that person. I even think there could be like suggestions for like icebreakers, or yeah, like icebreaker, that they can send to the other person. Perhaps it could even be like a game or whatnot, but something to do with icebreaker, so it doesn't have to, Josh doesn't may not feel to they need to have all the pressure on them. An app or suggested meetups, matches to people or events or groups, and then following up, keeping in touch beyond the app. Okay, so consider that as well. I'm thinking of this final point of drop. Like I don't, the goal would not for the person to not drop off after the first few messages.
Mhm.
Do you have other thoughts of why that might be? I have a guess that it's just they don't know what to talk about. Would you like to, is there anything
Yeah,
else to add
they
on?
don't know what to talk about. I think there's this like kind of like with dating apps, like there's a problem of just like people ghosting each other. um so it's either I think just being more transparent of like clarity of like if they want to like keep in touch with another with one another. um but also is there a way for us to maybe have someone want to revisit the app to keep retention? So maybe they are just new to this app, and since we don't have as much history as like let's say like Instagram, where people use our app every day, we want to find ways to be able to get our users back on the app. um and so just
Yeah.
user retention.
Okay. Yeah, then in that case, that would change the flow a bit. Where if it's retention to keep back on, perhaps it's not like Hinge, where they're like designed to be deleted. But
Mhm.
instead of the purpose of just being to meet other people, it could also say serve as a resource for people to come back on. And I think that could happen more through interest groups per se, or like meetup events. So I think the app could serve both cases.
Yeah.
I think in the bio, you can describe friendship type and yeah, people and recommended meetups to keep retention. Some interest. So let's see how that affects the flow. Specific. They still want specific. Based on like how Josh would prefer to meet people. So they would prefer to meet people in group settings. So that
Not
it,
necessarily. I think like it could just be a different ways of meeting people.
right. Okay.
We don't want to close off people who are more extroverted and would prefer to be with a larger group of people versus introverted.
I see. Okay, then we could just like keep both of like wanting to meet one on one, but also opening it up to larger events or and whatnot.
Hmm.
Okay, so specific friends or just meetups, and then you match to the people or events. You meet up with that specific person or group of people, and you can keep in log or have like new or follow up similar events to those same um, groups. Okay, cool. So considering this, I'm also just keeping track of the time. I believe I have 10 minutes left.
Yep.
Okay, I would then like to go on to creating the wireframes for this.
Awesome.
Sweet. So since it's an app medium, going on to frame, go into sign up. First, that's setup screen, making the bio. And this would be the matching flow for it. And there could be, I think, the individual, screen, like screen meeting, or there could also be an option of wanting to meet in groups. And you get to meet. And then afterwards, I believe would be the follow up. Okay, so sign up first. I think there could be, right, the company logo here. Email or phone number with password. And then they can go into creating their bio. So they can add, say, I would look at how other similar apps in terms of, bio and setup whatnot would do this. But I think having it screen by screen of like having, what's your name here. Oh, that is like really big text. Having name, say age. Yeah, they want to choose, since you mentioned before, they want to choose and select like what type of information they want to show. This could, besides name, age could also be optional. I think company could be optional too. It depends on how users feel about it to prevent it from feeling resume-like. I think it could be an option so far for the MVP. What they do, like job title, they can add that into their bio. And last would be the option to add any photos. I think having I'll add like a plus there just to, for them to show. Oh. Okay, so that could be like their bio, their setup. In terms of like the overall, I'm thinking, the app structure information hierarchy, how would that be set up? So I think there could be, well, if I remember on Bumble, like I would reference like how other similar apps you're currently using, even Instagram, Snapchat, Hinge, whatnot, they would structure their 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 app. But I think there could be, say, on the bottom, this could be their profile. I meant for that to be a circle. I think perhaps this could be individual people.
Mhm.
I'll just add a this. I would make better icons, but for now. This could be for meetups based on their interests. Oh, and based on that, like I would also in their bio definitely include what interests that they have. I think it'd be nice just to help them speed up the process, give them options of, interests that um, the groups would be based upon.
Mhm.
I think for here, and this could be messages.
Mhm.
Hmm. I'll change this to groups, group matching, and this could be messages. So I would set it up this way. And then let's see, matching flow, individual screen. So say for this, it could definitely be, say, like a swipe or scroll function. I think there's a lot of different options, but I think in terms of what would be most appropriate for that one-on-one, I think, the swipe or X out flow would be most appropriate. So I think then for that, having individual people show would be best so they can focus more on that individual person and not see everybody at once. So there will be profile with the same information that they put down here. So that would be for this. So now for group meetings, I think based on the interest that they listed out here, we can leverage that later on into the app. And then since this is more, like more open, free flowing, they can see, say, individual groups or meetups that are currently happening. See, like the title. I also had a thought of like if it's events or specific groups, I think like there could be a feature of if you want to see event specific events or like specific groups.
Mm-hmm.
But for here, I'll keep it to events. And then they can toggle based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was not that. Keeping track of time. How much time do I have left?
We can go until like I can give you like 5 more minutes.
Okay,
That's yeah.
got it. So that'll be then the group meetings, match and meet. Yeah, so they can go through each of the screens. They can send, for example, here, I think, instead of, I don't think a heart would be appropriate, but say like a thumbs up or something.
Mm-hmm.